Thank you all for attending this week. We're going to get started in just a moment. Wanted to get us ready for the documents that we'll be discussing. Documents are more important for what we'll be talking about that you'll be able to create today. So if you all are just getting into this knowledge, we're going to do a review from last week and then we'll jump right into the documents as I show you all the screen. So just bear with me as I go and update a few things. All right, so I'm going to jump right into it. So last week we talked about the sole proprietor and the different aspects of you being in a business and making sure that you're operating through this business account that most of us are thinking about. Today, I'll be going into more of a reason why you're supposed to be saving yourself from money. And I know that it may sound new or different to some people, but your goal is to save yourself from the financial. And I'm gonna start off with a question: how do I save myself from the financial banking system? And the last part was save myself from money. So I'll get into how you all are supposed to save yourself from money. And it sounds like something that nobody will ever tell you because they don't really know themselves. So they just teach you the same thing um, to do on a weekly basis or on a continual basis. So with my observation so far, what I've been able to learn is how to apply a lot of these methods on a weekly basis so that once you apply these methods, you'll be able to see them operate in your life. And there's no way to know how this looks in someone else's life until you see it going on in your own. So most of the time, I like to show screens and I like to show the data where this is coming from because you may not get the same information somewhere else. They may say something totally different. They may tell you that you can't do something or you can do something. So that's why I show the screen on a lot of this information. And I'm coming straight from some of these laws that we see on the screen, where the first law goes into the Federal Reserve banking system. So I'll be going into the banking system today, explaining to you how you're supposed to save yourself from their banking system. The there is anyone that is pretty much in control of something that you can't control. That's what you're saving yourself from. So you have to find a way to meticulously break that down to yourself. And I'll show some of the things that deal with, we'll say, the law and dealing with the banking system. So let's jump right into it. I'll start first by introducing myself. I'm one of the presenters. My name is Wallace Louis Temple Jr. Some may know me as Ra or Raak. Whichever format you want to use is good for me, as long as you are able to identify what I'm talking about and who you're talking to. So most of the time, I think we get kind of jammed up on the all caps name information and saying this is the straw man and the all caps. We don't get into that here because we're not here to argue a all caps or all capital letter name. We already know the name is in all capital letters. We know that it's a corporation, and we know we didn't create it. So that's the first thing that I'll be going into is the name that you all think that you created. You did not. And your goal is to take it. You have to get it back. You have to take it. It's not going to be easy either. You can't just go in and send a document in and say, I did that already. It's a little bit more effort, as we talked about in past calls. Some of us may be new. And even if you heard this the first time, you still can move forward in a lot of this information just with what you know. So, like I say, I have to give y'all evidence of what I'm saying and making sure it makes sense because I like, you know, to see if anybody has any other rebuttals or do you have people that have success of going around this? Because I haven't seen anyone getting around it, even though they may be online, they may be on Instagram, they may even be on YouTube or all these other places, but you can't get around certain things. So I wanted to make sure that we see through why if you go all the way to the end, you'll see what the results are once you get all the way to the end. So this first diagram is showing you all that the Federal Reserve Bank, oh sorry, not just the bank, it's actually banks. So all of the banks, according to what this is saying, according to the law, they are not required to cash checks presented to them by the general public. That's what it says. So if you get a check, if I get a check, or if anybody gets a check, they don't have to cash the check. They don't have to. That's why some of the times you all will see that, hey, you have to create a bank account with us in order to do certain things. So I'll go into that aspect of why the bank account is really kind of last. It's like probably your last thing you want to deal with because you want to be able to operate even without that bank account. And I'll explain that because some of this may seem like you're supposed to get everything all based around the bank. And like I say, I have people that sit on the banking system, um, and you have to come out of the banking system. So the treasury is higher than the banking system, but it's up to us to learn how to operate through the treasury. And I showed that in multiple ways that you can do this. But first, I wanted to get into why you have to save yourself from the Federal Reserve Bank. So shout out to everyone that's on YouTube or anyone that is coming into these calls on a weekly basis and our member only Zooms so that you can ask questions. We also have people that are interested in coming in. They may not have the time or they may not know where to go. So we'll try our best to give you all as much information on the replay as possible. So I showed you all this first one to make sure that you see, like, let's say you get a check, and I'm using this on a level of the treasury. So let's say you get a treasury check, or let's say you get a check from your employer. All right. So this is this is the beginning right here on the base level. You get a check from the employer or you get a check from the treasury. Are the banks required? Are they required to cash your check? According to this, it says they are not. So you have to find a way to work around this. You can't say that, hey, all my stuff is in the bank, and once I have it all in the bank, everything is going to work out for me. Well, I'm proving you today that you're not going to be able to depend on the bank. You can't depend on thinking that, hey, I'm going to deposit all of my money into their bank and they're going to help me. Right? What if they don't? What if they freeze the account? You don't know. So that's why I'm giving you all this to show you why it says they are not required. It didn't say they're not going to do it. It just shows that they're not required. So they can deny you. They can deny you, even if you have everything right. What do they say next? They say, as a depository of the public funds, each Federal Reserve Bank shall receive checks from its member banks. There you go. So that means you have to be a member of their banking system. And we already know y'all are not members. None of y'all are. So the way you are a member, you must get a license. They call it the Bankers Association. So you have to go to your state Bankers Association location and you have to go through all those rules and you have to become a member of that Bankers Association. So you all see where I'm going, right? Now, this may not make sense to you now, but it will as you grow in funds. That's why we go slow with getting people funds. We know there's people out there saying, get your checks and get your money back, get 100,000, get 200,000, 300, 400, $500,000. But I'm proving to you that there's no way that you can easily get those funds in a bank. And they can change their mind, right? They can change their mind. So your goal is to overcome all these things so that you can't be denied and they can't change their mind. They must do everything according to the law and according to what you're accomplishing with your we're going to say your goals. So our announcements, if you're just now coming into this, is going to be as a center line of how do I save myself from the financial banking system? That's a question really for the next months or so. How do I save myself from the financial banking system? This will be a question you'll ask yourself until you figure it out. And you have to save yourself from their banking system because if you get caught in their banking system and you're like stuck, and let's say your account is negative, what are you going to do? Right? What are you going to do? Are you going to be stuck in the negative? So let's get into some of those announcements so that we can dive deep and kind of navigate through this information as best as we can. But I gave you all an entryway to this. The second part of the question, once you see how do I save myself from the financial banking system, next is how do I save myself from money? How do I save myself from money? Money. That's the correct way to say it. And I know today some of us are stuck with the mindset that you are using money. And I go through this so many times to kind of make it redundant to prove that you're not using money. I know you're not, right? But if you are in the streets and you have the street mindset, you feel like you're using some money. You feel like you're getting money. Like I say, most of us are in that street mindset because we go to the ATM and we go to the bank and we get what? We call it cash. That's what they really call it. They call it cash. But it's not money. It's not money. I know that may escape some of us because we're still trying to figure this out. And of course, we were never taught. I was never taught either. So you can't say that I knew all this information either. I just learned it and I'm just applying it as I learn it. Yes, it takes years. It can take you up to 2 to 3 years to overcome these banking system people, but you have no choice. And if you don't, yeah, you do. You do have a choice. The choice is stay the same way. Don't change nothing you got going on. You can just simply use your personal bank account. Just keep applying for your credit and keep on getting those credit cards. There you go. That's your regular way. So you can stay that way or you can change. That's what this is about. So are you going to change or are you going to stay the same? So let's look into this. My next diagram I'm going to pull up as I read some more of the announcements is to prove you lawful money. So I wanted to make sure you all knew what lawful money is. I know this may be a redundant screen that we've shown many times, but I want to keep showing it. And I want y'all to type in your AI, type in your search engines, type in front of the government if you have to, if that's what you feel that you got to do to prove it. But yeah, you need to prove that you have lawful money. I didn't say Federal Reserve notes because I'm being very specific because I'm reading it just like y'all can read it. So it doesn't take a high level education. I don't care if you have a science degree or physics. It doesn't matter. Do you understand this? Matter of fact, you could be an expert person worked at the bank. I don't care if you worked at the bank for 30 years. Do you understand? Do you know this information right here? I can tell you for a fact, I didn't know. I didn't know none of this. I'm over here living out my life, over here living, thinking everything is all great and good. I'm about to go get some money. I'm about to go and get this business running. I'm going get this credit and I'm about to go get some money. That's what they teach us. But they're leading us into a road of destruction so that you don't even get out. It's almost like by the time you figure out you're jammed in, you can't even get out. So, like I say, this is all about design. They don't want you to get out. That's why they keep leading you and keep increasing your credit line, right? You're ready to get rid of it, but they keep adding more. So that's why we're here to talk and we're here to look at the things together. So don't say that somebody's smarter than you or look, if you graduated high school, you smart, right? If you turn 18, you better be smart because these people say that you got to manage your own affairs. If you turn 18, unless you got somebody helping you. So this isn't something to play around and try to sit around and study and figure out. You want to make moves as soon as you possibly can. This isn't a let me sit here and read a whole bunch of books all day and study their law. Like I say, I've been there. I tried that. It doesn't go through as fast as you think. So yeah, you're back at this stage right here, proving that you have lawful money. And that's what I'm here to show you all how to do. You're going to learn how to get lawful money and how to prove you have lawful money today. And you're going to be able to operate without the bank. I have so many people that's been around me. I know I got friends, business partners, people I know. They still don't know how to operate with lawful money. My mom doesn't know how to operate with lawful money yet. My dad, my aunties, my grandma, my uncles, they don't know how to operate with lawful money. So I can't go to them and get legal, lawful, or financial advice. They don't have lawful money. So y'all got to stop going to these videos and to these so-called guru people, and they can't even break down the most basic thing to you that you can type in on your AI or on a Google search. That's where we at right now. We're not trying to make this so difficult and so hard. So share the information with people. Pick their brain. This isn't contract law. So right here it says lawful money is any form of currency issued by the United States Treasury and not the Federal Reserve System. That's a mouthful in itself. Federal Reserve System. Like I say, y'all in the financial banking system that you got to get saved from their system. Let me show you how deep this rabbit hole goes. Because yes, you're gonna have to go all the way in to figure this stuff out. Many people around you are not gonna want to go all in with it. They just gonna sit back and just wait because they don't know where to go. So this isn't for just a whole bunch of people. This is the few. Can you do it? Is the whole question. Can you do it? Don't think about everybody else doing it. Can you do it first? So the question I'm gonna give y'all, and I'm gonna show you the screen. I'm gonna give y'all an example of the Federal Reserve System. They don't like y'all talking about money. So let me give y'all an image of money. You see, we got $100 bill. It's right here. Let me pull out your hundreds. Since everybody be trying to grab the hundred so much. Yeah, they selling a $100 bill for $175. That's right. Let me show y'all on the screen real quick. All right. So you see right here, they're even selling the $100 bill. Yeah, people selling money. Well, it's not money. That's the point, and I'm gonna prove to them. They're not selling money. They're selling the notes. So right here, I'm gonna go to y'all screen so y'all can see y'all money that y'all call money. I'm gonna prove to you the data say money. I don't care how much you got. You can show me in the rap video. You can show me how much people got in their bank account, all that extra stuff. That don't mean nothing. I'm proving you that you don't have no money. You're in the system. So let me scroll in and inspect this for y'all today. Prove to you, like they be looking at your $100 bill, like I got a fake $100 bill or something when I be trying to go to the store or at Target or Walmart. They over here looking all in the air, putting in the air, and all that extra stuff. Right? So I'm gonna inspect the money too, just like they be doing. So right here it says the United States of America is issuing this money. No, sorry, it's not money. Let me go back. It's issuing you these notes because that's what they said. I don't see anything on this thing that say money. I don't care how smart you say you is. This thing say Federal Reserve note. It says Federal Reserve note. Now let's go over on the other side of Benjamin face and look right here. Who's giving them authority? You see right here, the Department of the Treasury from 1789. So all the way back to 1789, they gave them authorization to print some notes. So that's just right. So you got your right side right here. So you got your Treasury. Now let's go to the left. Here we go right here. So this is the United States Federal Reserve System. Ah, you get it? Y'all ain't even in the bank. Y'all over in the system. So they got y'all in the Federal Reserve System thinking that the higher the note, the more money you got. The higher the note, the more money you got. And we find that it's not. The more money, the more of the note, the lower the money you have. Because this is the Federal Reserve System. It's totally different. This is not even the Federal Reserve Bank. And you see Benjamin over here looking crazy, like, man, y'all just don't know. So when you all look at these notes, I want y'all to inspect them as best as you can, because I'm showing y'all on the screen one that is into the date that we're in today. We call it the $100 bill or $100 note. This is of the Federal Reserve System, just like I showed in the diagram previous. Let's go to another example. I'm going to show you the difference between the Federal Reserve System and the Federal Reserve Bank. Federal Reserve System versus the Federal Reserve Bank. Okay, so now that you know that there's two types of situations you're in when you're dealing with the financial system, or I should say their financial system. Now you have to learn how to get out of it. Now you got to get out. So when you come out of her system, this is what you're coming out. Come out of her system. That's her system. She is the one controlling all of that stuff. And you all don't know the she. I got to go in practical, real time life to explain this because we can't just say it. We got to show the screen. So what I'm gonna show you is the her is what you all most of the time know as Columbia. So that's why they say District of who? Who is this? Columbia. Not Columbus, but Columbia. If you go look at some images of Columbia, when they say the District of Columbia, but we'll find out who is Columbia. Let me type in Columbia. Okay, so Columbia. Yeah, they would use these slogans and saying they'll get you to join. This is a personifications of Columbia. I think I just lost one of them. Let's see, that's District of Columbia. Ah, Columbia. I know y'all know who Columbia is. Look at this. This is Columbia. Let's stop playing with ourselves. We already know who Columbia is. Columbia be on those movies. Right before you watch the movie, we be seeing Columbia. You got more images of Columbia. And so when you're dealing with this, you all got to look at practical, real world situations. So don't think that this is too deep. This is more of a surface level where you're actually investigating, you're researching it, and you're seeing it. So Columbia is the her that I was explaining earlier. So you're coming out of her, which is coming out of Columbia. You're coming out of her system. Her system is in place. Now I go back and I segue to the District of Columbia. You now understand what that is. That goes into the District of Columbia, which goes into what most of us know as DC. Let me see if I can pull up that image again of what we usually see as DC. So what I'm attempting to do when I explain this to you all, I'm attempting to give you all a visual imagery of what it is that you're in. As far as I've been able to discover, and yes, it is going to happen in the midst of all the things we got going on, which is an awakening. So when you are awakened to this knowledge, you're going to be able to understand how to navigate. So yes, this is Columbia. I know that this may be new to us, but Columbia, this image right here is who we're talking about when you say the District of Columbia. So let's go back to the District of Columbia. Okay, District of Columbia. So this is her. This is her location. Her, Columbia. I just showed you. And the District of Columbia, as you all know, is where we kind of see this place, what we call uh, the White House. All right. So this is the place that you all dealing with right here that I just showed you in the imagery of the system. So when you come out of her system, you're also coming out of her house. Her house. That's her house. So all of y'all be all up in her house trying to tell her how to run her house. How you gonna go in her house and tell her how to run her house? All right. This is where it gets to the people. So all of y'all are supposed to be the people, but y'all are in some other house as one of the people, which they say you're supposed to be the common people of the United States. But you all are dealing with the personal, individual, corporate side. So they are able to control you because this house right here runs your life. This one house. So Colombia is a serious topic that y'all should definitely study more into historically, because Colombia didn't just pop up out of nowhere. And it's different than Columbus. It's not Columbus, Colombia. Let's go back to that image that I showed you of why I know for sure that y'all don't have no, you're not using money. So you're not using lawful currency, I'm gonna say. You're not using lawful currency because by using lawful currency, this will enable you to have more power. You have more power over the situations that you go into when you're dealing with their financial system. And that's really what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about how do you manage the financial system in your life. And all of us have a financial obligation. So just bear with me as I pull back up our last diagram screen as I showed you all the Federal Reserve note. So I want y'all to go back to ensure that you have fully inspected what I just showed you is not money. So this is not money. If you all believe today still, even after we have these long discussions and talks and conference calls and visuals and all this stuff, and you still don't have the mind that this isn't money, then you're still going to be stuck next week. You're going to be in the same spot like you were last week, because this is why I'm going to show you today exclusively how you're supposed to come out. You got to come out of the money. So that's, you got to be saved from the money. That's why you have the, and we'll get into why you have the trust. So like you got the revocable trust, you already done step one, which is beginning to get yourself out of their money. Let me see if I can click on one of these. No, I got to go to a dollar bill. Let me show you all the difference of the dollar bill versus the $100 bill to show you that the dollar is actually worth more than 100. See if it lets me scroll in. Can I see it? No, it's too blurry. Let me go to a better image for y'all. Okay, now let's inspect the dollar. So I went to the highest bill, and now we're going to go to the lowest one. This would be Washington, what they call George Washington. Let's scroll into the money. Let's inspect it, like how they be looking at y'all money when they be at the register to see if you got fraud money or if you got fake money, right? Fake notes. We're going to call them notes. It's not even money. So as you can see, this was issued by the Department of the Treasury, and it's going as far back as 1789. The Department of the Treasury. So this is the right side. So you go to the right side, you get the lawful currency from the Department of the Treasury. All right, so now you're on the right. Now let's go to the left and prove to you what's on the left. And you remember, as I go through this, I want y'all to prove today that you're not using money when you use this. Look at this, read it. It says, this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. So yes, they affect the private side as well as the public. They already told you. So yes, the cash can be used on the private. So if all you use is cash, per se, you're using Federal Reserve notes, you are still in their system. That's correct. Even if you're in the streets and you got cash, money, if you want to call it money, you are still in their system because it's on the private side too. So if you hold on to the notes on the private side, you are not private. That's what I'm trying to prove. I know for a fact you're not private because you're still using their notes this way to pay for stuff. So let's go right here and prove to you today that the dollar is actually coming from the bank. And what y'all been using, those $100 bills and $5 bills and $10 bills, $20 bills, you're not getting that money from the bank. I know for sure you're not. I did thorough research. It's been taking me about 5 to 10 years to understand this, and I still don't fully understand it. And I'm still trying to break it down to myself by even explaining it right now. So yes, looking at your dollar bill, it tells you where the money came from and the location where it came from. And you can see for sure, scroll out, that's coming from San Francisco. So it's coming from the bank of the bank. It didn't say the system. Make sure I look at my diagram previous. The bank, not the system. The Bank of San Francisco. The Federal Reserve, California. So California has a Federal Reserve of funds that you all are not tapping into because you're looking in at another system. So the L is telling you the location, which is that location of that bank, and the 12 also identifies that bank location, which is, I think, location 12, which is also referenced by the letter L. So those letters and those numbers are not there for entertainment. That letter and that L is based upon your social card, which I'll be getting into in just a few to prove how you're supposed to save yourself from the money that was printed and placed through your card. So this right here is all connected to the bank. So if you use the dollars are connected to the bank. But if you use any higher bills, those are not technically, according to our research so far, connected to the bank. So let's pivot back to kind of give an idea of where our information came from. I want to pivot back over here. I wanted to get you all to say that it doesn't matter how wise or smart or studious that we are. If you don't know how to hold lawful money, this is going to be the problem. So our goal is to have lawful money. So I'll read through the rest of what it says that you are going to have lawful money that I'll be showing you today of how you're supposed to utilize Monday through Friday when you are in their commerce, such as their commerce system. So it includes gold and silver coins. That's right. So the first thing, if you have lawful money, lawful currency, you have gold and silver coins. That's great. So if you have that or you have access to it, congratulations. You are on the right path so far to be able to hold lawful money. Now, if you don't have access to that right now and all you can do is log into your bank account and look at the account or the debit card, apologies. I'm here to tell you that you are not in the lawful money at this time. You're not in the lawful money yet. So you need to have access to some type of lawful money. So if something happens, you have access to those things. The other part of lawful money we have is treasury notes. Treasury notes. That means a note from the treasury, not the Federal Reserve, but the treasury. So we use those as understanding that maybe a treasury check in a way. If you look at it like that, a treasury check coming from the U.S. Department of Treasury, and or it could be credit notes, some type of note or credit that they give to you on your account, such as those treasury letters they send to y'all. They also have other ways that looks inside the Treasury Direct account. So some of y'all are privy to the Treasury Direct account, which I'll go over a little bit today, of ways that are going to save you from the bank, save you from the money. So treasury bonds, there you go. It's another lawful money, lawful currency, treasury bond, right? Something that's traded. Let's say you have your treasury check and it's placed into the what they call the bonds that they have on the website. I think it's treasurydirect.gov. So yes, you can buy bonds even with your cash. I'll show you how to use those Federal Reserve notes and convert those notes into bonds. Last, it says lawful money stands in contrast. That's right, against, opposite, not like, at all, right? Contrast. Lawful money stands in contrast to fiat money. Fiat. Let's look at fiat again. Fiat is this on the right. This is the fiat, the dollar bills, the $5 bills, and the $100 bill. This is the contrast right here, in which the government assigns value. So who's assigning value to those Federal Reserve notes? They just told you, the government. The government assigns value, although it has no intrinsic value of its own. All right. So when they tell you your money ain't worth nothing, they told you, they said to you in your face that that ain't even lawful currency, that ain't even real money, it ain't even valuable. It has no intrinsic value of its own and is not backed by reserves. Look at that. So even the Federal Reserve Bank don't even back it. They're like, wait, look, we just printed it. We don't even, you know, we don't know what to tell you. Look, we don't even back it. That's what they're going to tell you. So I'm breaking this down slowly today to kind of show where the mind is and where we have to get to. Before I get y'all to the meat of the discussion, so I didn't even, this is just the introduction right here. The introduction is showing you that if you are still depending on the bank account login, or you have all of your so-called value in a system, you are in some form in contrast. Like I'm reading right here. Don't say that I'm saying it. I'm reading it, but I am saying it because I'm reading it. You are in contrast to lawful money. That's what's happening. So this is your problem. All of our problems today are, am I in lawful? Am I in lawful money? And that will get us into that question that I asked earlier for our announcements is, how do I save myself from money? That's the second question we asked. And then the other part we mentioned was, how do I save myself from the financial banking system? So I think y'all have an idea so far of answering some of those questions with maybe some of your clues and understanding that. But this, before I get into my understanding of what I've been able to research, what are some strategies that maybe you all are listening on the call that you may be able to apply, that can save you from using the Federal Reserve notes? What ways will you be able to maneuver out here where you're not, in a way, using the bank? Let's go there first. Let's say the bank. The bank, you can't use the bank, and you may not be able to use those notes. So anyone have any ideas or what type of strategies or creativity that you can come up with before I get into some of my findings that I've been able to find so far? I'll go ahead. I see someone's hand.
The example that you've given us, Wallace, as far as um, the money orders, using the post office and using lawful money according to money orders. Because I mean, it's a money order, and we talk about money or lawful money. It's a money order. That's all I got.
Correct. So even still, it still requires an what? Order, right? So how do you do that? Anyone want to shoot at this? How do you order the money? Yes, this is a quiz. This is a quiz. So if you all, this is real time. You out here on Monday, you got to deal with money. How would you order it?
By the purchase of a money order at the post office for the value of whatever you need. If it's $1,000, we're gonna take these whatever they call fiat notes and purchase real money in reference to the money order, and maybe pay $1,003 in fiat.
Can you give a practical bill that you're talking about or something you're using? Because most people feel like maybe that's going to take too long. Maybe they don't, you know, have a way to do that right now. Like, how would they do that?
The same way we purchase anything else by using our either cash or using the debit card to purchase the money, right?
Right. Correct. But we're trying to use practical steps. So like the way you're explaining it is that you can actually order the lawful money the way you're saying. So is that a way of a strategy?
I don't have the answer, Wallace. I'm asking. I would ask you. I would assume so because it's a money order. So I'm ordering the money. If I got $1,000 bill, a mortgage bill or rent, and I go to the post office and I say, hey, I need $1,000 money order, and it costs me $1,003, then it's real money, right?
Correct. I mean, I'm just walking us through then the practical regular way. Most people just go online with their debit card or their credit card, right? Isn't that the more they'll say that's normal. Like you're doing something abnormal, my friend. Why are you going all the way to the post office, man? Why are you even doing all that? That's how people think, right? So how would you answer that if somebody's thinking that you're doing something that don't make sense? Anybody want to shoot at that?
Join university technicians. They call holler Wallace. I'm sorry.
But you see where I'm going at, right? So what we're trying to do is not convince only yourself, but convince others what you're doing. Does it make sense to you to do that? And does it also make sense if you explained it to somebody else? Because yeah, you gave me the answer. The answer is I'm gonna go ahead and convert this Federal Reserve note. I'm gonna convert this note into money. That's what it sounds like you told me, based on everything you said. So it seems like people got the notes, but they're not converting the notes. That's what it seems like.
100%. In reference what you said and what I heard, the money order example that we're discussing, it would be the same as lawful money and purchasing of silver or gold. So in
Correct.
order to purchase any money, you're gonna have to use what you have, whether we're talking credit cards or debit cards or cash, to actually purchase the lawful money. That's what I understand.
Exactly. Correct. But what if it's just sitting in my bank account? What if it's just sitting in my bank? Is it lawful money sitting in the bank? Right. So this is where we get to the point where, and like I said, I can't walk y'all down that far. I'm just trying to get you to the practical parts that we're talking. Just say you don't have a bank, you're not using the banking system, and you got notes. And you gave me a good answer. You said the post office money orders, which makes perfect sense. What's another way? Anybody else have another answer to how if you didn't have the post office money order, you could, how would you do it without the post office? They say the post office closed. You see what I'm saying? What am I going to do? The post office closed right now. Anybody got any shots at this? Come on, y'all, be creative. But the bank is closed, the post office closed. What do you do?
Go to public, go somewhere where they sell money orders.
What if Publix is closed? It's a bank, it's a holiday. Columbia said it's a holiday, right?
Hmm.
I'm giving y'all real
Ah,
life situations right now.
yeah.
Columbia said it's a holiday, we closed. What do you do?
Wait till they open.
Julian,
You gonna
it's
wait?
Julian here.
Yeah, go ahead, Julie.
Oh,
What
my
you
bad.
got on this?
Western Union, MoneyGram.
Well, yeah, that could work. That could work. But remember, they're gonna ask you to hold the money again, right? The same fiat. Right. Your goal is to convert the fiat after you get it from Western Union or MoneyGram. How you do that? I think we talked about some things in the past. Let's say I got cash and I need to convert it out of the banking system. How would you do that? What way would you go? In your own ways, not any way that I would think right now.
Crypto or ATM?
Thank you. That's a good one. You said crypto. And what's the other one you said?
Well, you say get fiat out of a bank, and I'm thinking the day and it's closed. I'm thinking ATM.
No, what I'm saying is you can't convert
Okay.
nothing because remember, like the bank is closed, the post office closed, and you still need to deal with some currency. All right. Now you gave a good answer. You said crypto. How does that work for you? Because some people don't even know what that is. They don't know what crypto is.
Well, when you see bank is closed, that means you can't use the money that's held in the system. Because usually I could hook up a like Cash App. Cash App, you could buy a few cryptocurrencies. I could just take money from the bank, put it into my Cash App, and then you got to post your driver's license or ID, and then you can purchase cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and from there, if you want to send Bitcoin to another wallet or to another system, you can. All you gotta do is get their Bitcoin address, which is about a string of 15, 20 characters, random numbers and letters, and they're unique, and you send it off that way. Or sometimes you could maybe have a crypto card tied to that wallet. There's a lot of companies that you can give you a Visa card tied to your Bitcoin wallet, and then that's a way to transfer or convert. Or once it's in crypto entirely, you could do whatever you want. You could transfer to another cryptocurrency. You can transfer to another form of currency from another country if you want to. I guess it just puts it into another medium, another matrix of money to which you have, I want to say freedom, but a lot more options of what you want to do with it, how you want to spend it. That's it.
Well, that's a great practical route. So we got two routes. We got Ronnie said post office money order that's getting you out of the fiat. You mentioned another way I'm getting out of the fiat is crypto. So I'm now moving it into crypto. Specifically, you mentioned Bitcoin, and I can do this when the bank is closed. I can use mediums like Cash App or PayPal or Venmo or all these other places that they say that holds what they say currency. So you give a great answer too, where people can learn how to convert, right? Convert. So what's another answer? I think somebody typed in the chat. Let's say um, the internet down. Your phone can't work. The internet ain't working. You know, or you got to verify in the phone off that send the text message to the phone that you got to click the code. I'm breaking down anything that y'all can run into. That's why I'm saying these things as well. The phone broke, the internet's down, the text phone, you got to pay the bill to get the phone on just to get the code so you can get on the Cash App or something, right? So what's a workaround that? And I see someone type some answers in the chat. That may be your more practical walking around type route.
Outside of bartering, but
Well,
that's
there you go. That's a good route. So start there. You said bartering. I see somebody else typed in the chat. Buy from pawn shop. That's a great one. That's a good one. Buy from the pawn shop. You got Etsy or eBay. Good ones, but you still need for eBay and those online things, you're gonna need some type of card or something, right? So you gotta have some. So I'm saying like you just out here, you know, cash in your hand. Like they say, people in the streets, all they got is cash. So I'm bringing in some more practical routes, like you said, barter. Barter is a great way. Pawn shop, that's another great way. Anybody ever thought of those routes? So we got three routes that y'all can live without the bank so far today: post office money order, crypto, and gold and silver that you can possibly buy from where? The pawn shop. Has anybody ever thought of these routes? Have you practiced these routes? Anybody have any experience with this? This is why we want to share these types of testimonials so people can understand there are ways around, there are ways out. And that's pretty much what we're here to do. So I'm going to go through some more of our announcements that kind of coincide with the same thing that we're going to say that gets into when you deal with coming out of the money or the fiat that we call cash or money. We don't want to stay in that form. You want to get out of that form. What I mean by that form, I'm talking about the actual fiat cash currency. So you got to come out of her currency, come out of her money, and get into your own money. Let's go back to the announcements. The announcements speak of some of your practical points that I'm going to go through in just a moment. It won't hold you all too much longer. The first thing I want to go over, but I hope I was able to give some good examples of how to come out of that system that we talked about earlier, the Federal Reserve System. So you convert all those $20 bills, the $10 bills, $5 bills, $100 bills, and the dollar bills. All of them have to be converted into lawful currency. Easy and simple. Yes, crypto is considered lawful currency. If you all look on irs.gov, they call it digital currency. And I'll show that on the screen in a few to kind of help prove the digital currency more. But I see a hand up. Go ahead. I see a hand up.
Yeah, Wallace, I didn't get a chance. Everybody was rolling, but what about gold backs? You know, they made gold backs legal. Would that count as legal money?
Right. No, not legal. Remember, this what we're using now is legal tender, but lawful currency.
Lawful currency. That's what I meant to say. Would the gold backs be considered lawful currency?
Yes. If it says it on there like certificate, silver
Okay.
certificate or gold certificate, that's why I
Okay.
said it on there. It says bonds, treasury notes, and treasury bonds. Those are gold certificates and silver certificates if you buy
Okay.
those. That makes
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, it sure does. So thank you.
Yeah, so that's a collectible. So if you have that, you have lawful currency. If you have troy ounce information, troy ounce things like it says 1 troy ounce or USDP, all that stuff, right? You have lawful currency because you have the physical currency in your hand. So yes, you all are giving some great points. I'm just giving y'all something to think about and how to come out of their systematic way of you thinking about getting money. They have systematically mastered it. You're not going to win if you just think that you can sit back and not figure out how to get out. Because you got to figure out how to get out, or you're just going to stay in. So yeah, so everyone around me, I have friends and family and business partners, people around me that are practicing this, and this does work. And you can barter and exchange things as well. So nobody really told me that one. I believe that's your fourth out, which is probably your ultimate out. I believe your ultimate out is barter and exchange. And we won't get into that until we first do this thing that I spoke of on the notes right here. It's going to go into this you making a name for yourself. So that's the first thing that I'm going to show you all today, how you can make a name for yourself. I know that sounds, you know, like something that you was told when you was growing up, like, hey, you need to go out there and make a name for yourself. But that's how they told me, and I never understood it. But maybe they were right, but they just didn't have the route or the map to show me how to make a name for myself. So I'm gonna prove to you all today that this is a real deal, real time situation where you have to actually make a name for yourself and you have to publicate that name. So I'll be going into a screen in just a moment of how you're supposed to publish your name, and you have to make sure your name is um, taken. All right, because they are using the them, the government are using your name in vain. They are using your name in vain. And in reality, I'm giving y'all biblical principles too that you're not supposed to take the name in vain. Nobody can take the name in vain. Even if they use it, if they use your name and it's wrong, you, by not doing anything about it, is still taking it in vain. Or if they're using it and you're still not stopping them, it is also considered in a way still taking the name in vain because you're not stopping them. So I'm getting into this to kind of tie in the physical aspects of this where we can see the actual practical business aspect of your name. And I'm being specific because I want you all to take this serious once I go through this, because you got to make sure you confront those offices. They're not going to easily just give it over to you. This is a fact. You got to keep coming at them. They always say three is a charm. So it may take 3 times for you to deal with them. You know, they say Peter denied, I think that's in the Bible somewhere. They say Peter denied, how many times was it again?
He denied Jesus 3 times.
3 times. That's it. So don't these government offices be seeming like they deny you, you know, the first time, the second, but the third time, you know, you come on back. So yes, this is important as we go into this. Let me give y'all the next diagram I wanted to show right here. And it's going to get into you taking over the name and how you're supposed to think of this as a actual step, real-time step. So when you publish your name in a newspaper, I have people around that have taken these courses and have done some of these steps. And this is a regular step, but I like to say it's called a fee schedule behind your name. Make it easy and make it practical for yourself. So if anybody uses your name or they try to use your name in vain, whatever way that is, you are now taking care of the name and putting a fee behind the name. So this publication is in the newspaper. You want to have a legal notice, as you see down here, the legal notice number and the date of the legal notice number. I did this back in 2019. So what you do is when you publicate in a newspaper, and I may update this because it's so far back. There's ways that you do this every 5 years. So I'm at the point where I'm going to redo this again. But this is just an example for illustration, entertainment purposes only, that you are able to understand publishing your name in the newspaper. So for example, I have a name right here. This is a business name. This is no longer a name that I see as me personally or individually. So every time anyone in the government or offices or anyone uses the name, they must do it in all ways according to the law. Because your name is now being transferred over and converted over into a business. Which is why I went into last week to show you all why you want to use your legal name. And the IRS says this. The IRS says your legal name is a sole proprietor. So you agree to the IRS that every time you put your name on a piece of paper or you deal with your name, you already are doing business, if you can believe it. So I've been doing this since 2019, and I've been proving it beyond reasonable doubt in any court or any matter. So if I show this to a judge or I show this to an officer, they have to respond within 10 days. All right. So that is the law. Right. And within 30 days, if they do not respond, then this becomes judgment in commerce, according to the commercial laws of the world. So when I give this to someone and they say they don't understand, then it doesn't matter. And even further, I go back even further. So I go back retroactive too. So anything that retroactively happened in the name, so in the past, the present, or the future, I go into that as well. This notice is retroactive. It's a very good word to use when you're dealing with your name. So it could be something that you didn't know about that's in their system that's messed up. You're supposed to send notices to them. You're supposed to be on it, and you have to take care of that. That's why I'm going to get into some of the documents y'all are going to have to create, and this is one of them. So be creative. And I was thankful I was passed on from a brethren that I learned in the past of the publications, and they were showing us that this was a powerful step for court. especially if they got the wrong name on the court documents. So, importantly, this is something that you'll be able to look into as you grow when you start to see the fee schedules or the legal notices. So, any questions? If anybody thought about the name, you're going to actually use the
I
DBA.
do, I do have a question, Wallace. In reference to the way you presenting that, and if you registering with your state and you, as the sole proprietor, when you put in that fictitious name, would you put your legal name as that fictitious entity as a sole proprietor? I was confused on that part.
Correct. The name is moved and converted over. And like I say, the way I wrote the notes is that you're converting from the SSN. So you're converting the SS card. You're converting yourself from the SS card, the SS name, and the SS number. The SS card, the SS name, and the SS number. How do you do that? You make a name for yourself. You convert your legal name into a sole trust. So the sole trust we talked about is that sole proprietor. I believe it's already done. I think that we just have to agree. Everyone has to agree within yourself that you already have access, you already have power, you already have the name. You now just have to take it. So you got to take your name back and use it. So that helps because, yeah, if it's a fictitious name in their system, that's what they want to call it. And that's what I would put in the way the state has it too. So there's no counters to this unless they counter the argument by saying that you didn't give them notice. But I have the notice here that they're always able to look up and to say that I gave them notice. So do I have to send this out to everyone? I don't. I don't have to send out a copy to every single person. I can just give them a legal notice, tell them the date, and say, hey, you can look it up, blah, blah, blah. His name is, be advised, his name is a notice applicable to the use. What does it say right here? To the use of each and every account. That's right. So there's every account associated with that name. I don't care what bank it is. It could be an old credit card. It could be a card still showing up on my credit report. Doesn't matter. I'm not doing all that work. I'm not going to go send out notice. I don't have money to be sending out notices to 55 entities, certified mail. That's impossible. So I'm giving y'all some stuff that's don't overthink this because it's your name. Who else can manage your name better than you? Yes, it's signed under penalty of perjury. So that means if I'm wrong, then I go to jail because I'm not supposed to manage my name. That's right. So I look at it from law. You got to be willing to go to jail. If you're wrong, then be right. So I didn't go to jail because I took over my name or anything. It was more of, am I going to manage my name and make sure they don't use my name in vain? And so far, these are the counters that you all are going to be able to use once you start to see the reason of the legal name actually being your business. So, like I say, the first part is you're going to make a name for yourself. You're going to convert your legal name into a sole trust. As we already spoke of this and multiple times, I'll show it back on the screen again where you're going to create the sole proprietor. So you got to make yourself a sole proprietor under your revocable living trust. Once you create yourself as a sole proprietor, it's going to update you in their system. So you should be able to see your name in the system as a business. So I have different references that go into like Visipedia think I have another chart that shows where I can search my name in real time and it pops up. Things of that sort. Let me see if I can find that. So if I was able to search your name, then I should be able to find your name as a business, right? Let's just do it in real time. Let's see if it pops up that way. So go to this website. It's called Bizopedia, BIZAPEDIA.com. If you have internet. So you're going to go to Bizopedia.com. Then you can type in the name and see what name pops up. Let me see. I'm going to type my name in first.
Wallace, are
I'm
you
not sure
sharing
on
the
screen.
screen? We can't see.
Yeah, I'm going to share it in just a few. I want to type it in first and see what pops up.
Okay.
And then we're going to show, I want you all to do the same thing with your name. Just type your name in the system, see if it pops up. See if it pops up as a business, because that's how we know for sure. I'm going to type in my address, the city I'm in. All they ask you is for your name, first name, last name, city, and state. So just click on people when you see people. Let me see what pops up on mine. I'll show you all the screen in just a few. Okay, so I have multiple matches that show my name being used in business. Okay, let me go to this one. I like this one. It says ennoble private lender. That goes to show my trust is showing in the system too. All right, let me show that on the screen. All right, so when I search Bizopedia, my name pops up in the system. Because I publicate it in the newspaper, they will relevantly find you faster. So this is without, a lot of things. So you want to start off one way, you can start with the newspaper. Then you can also do the DBA. However way, whichever order. That'll get into my next steps as I talk about that later on. So you see my relevant score, it pops up, gives me an address, has the name, even has the name with my trust name. So I have a revocable trust name right here. That's even popping up here. More businesses, more names. My wife's name. My wife has a business name. We all have, once your name is in the system, you're doing business, right? This is how this looks. So when when your name is in the system, you are doing business, they will see you differently. It's the same thing that you have to make sure when you type in your name and see the different businesses that you have connected to your name. So that's why I use this step with Bizopedia. It's a very basic step that you use. You search out millions of business entities. You can type in through the company name, people, or even the address. So any comments or questions on this part based upon the search?
I just like the example you gave, Wallace, is bringing clarity for myself to say you're doing business and to prove you're doing business. So register, you're doing business in whatever state you reside in. And if you're not registered as a business, then you have no business. That's what I got out of it. But thank you.
That is correct. This is absolutely what I'm saying.
It just hit me about maybe five minutes ago when you were saying about how to put your soul up under the trust, and I'm like, okay, that's why you got the 1040. All right, I got it. So I'm going to use that. I see how to do it now. I got you. It finally clicked. Just this, yeah. All right.
Absolutely, yes. Your soul is on the 1040 because that's activating your soul prop right there too, from the treasury side. Exactly.
100%, Jermaine. I want to say too, Wallace, as because that social security card clearly states that this ain't yours. But then when you said today, your name on any account that also registered with me said, oh, okay, it's my name, the account number, the social security card, the
Mm-hmm.
number associated with his name in the bank or any entity I'm dealing with in commerce. So those are some aha moments, man, for me too. Shout out to Jermaine too. I'm with you, bro.
Man, that's great. I'm glad that y'all coming to that because it's your name. It's your name really that you're doing. So look at this right here. The certificate of live birth. We'll get into some things that I'll talk about why you have to, some things that you have to get. And I'll go through the list of things you have to get and the things you have to create. And next week, I'll get into the details of those things that's on the list. But today, I'm just going to go through them really fast to explain where you are and based on some of the notes I was able to put together so far. Before I go into this, does anybody have clarity to the point of you still operating without the bank? Does anybody have any problems with this so far? Why you still, even with the publication, you still need to operate without the bank and the fiat? Does anybody have any thoughts, questions, or shares on this? We want to make sure we have a perfect strategy that can apply to you in the way you're thinking about it. So don't think of it as my way of doing it. We have there's ways that you can customize your own plan. That's what we're going to say. We had great answers tonight. We had multiple answers. My ultimate answer I gave was barter. I can barter in exchange. I believe that's the ultimate one. Because at the end of the day, I don't have no cash, no money, no card, no nothing. I can still barter. I can still barter in exchange something.
I want to say, Wallace, for me, it's unlearn and relearn because it's so convenient and I'm being programmed within my mind to just use my card or use this debit card. So I have to take the initiative as you share the information to apply it, even though it may be inconvenient, but I gotta get out of the convenience of doing it the way I'm used to.
That is correct. Because who's creating that convenience for you?
Yourself.
Well, they're creating it so that it's easier for you to use them.
Well, what I seen is like today, like I said just a second ago, it was more than just, it was a bunch of classes that came together because now I see how to put my name up under my trust. And then now I see where the upload account comes from because upload only deals with crypto. And that brother that spoke earlier that told us about putting everything into crypto and how you can just basically transfer your currency into any whatever term of currency you want to use, everything came together. So I see it now. I see how all of that stuff connects and how we have to use it. And then and now I see why in that one class, because I got like major auditory recall. I can still hear you saying about the upload account where you basically use that as your as your bank account and as your bank period and use that as the function with and because you're basically directing all of your funds into that upload account and then that upload account allows you to transfer that instantly into crypto which allows you to link into what the brother said earlier. Man, my head blown. Man, go ahead, man.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad that we're breaking it into our minds of where it works for us. You know, and so any way it works for you is what we're working on. So I have a way that works for me, and y'all may have a different way that works for you. But there's a way that gotta work. I don't think anybody can stay the same. You know, don't think it's my knowledge saying that, hey, you said not to use the bank debit card. I didn't say not to use it. I just said, how are you using it?
Right. It's all about how you got it set up. I feel you.
I was just saying, anybody who says this, you know, Hey, you said don't use the bank card. Didn't you say not to use it? Somebody can recall that and say that that's what I said. So what the main goal is today is to convert yourself. Convert everything you have. Convert it. It has to be converted. It can't stay the same. You can't keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. Yep. So that goes back to those credit cards again. You got to get out of those credit cards. As soon as you pay it off, cut the card up, close it. Stop going back to the same card. You can get a better card. You can get the business card. There's nothing stopping you. These are the basics. I was gonna say, anyone who has this stuff going on now, you can do it now. It's not a long, drawn out plan. It can happen like as we talk on the phone, or even us in this live call. People can convert and immediately do it. So that's why we're saying there are docs behind this as well. That's going to give you this confidence. So I'll go through as many as I can before we close out today. And the goal is for you all to get these things. You have to get it from the government. If you don't have it, you need to find a way to figure out how to get it. So the first thing on the list we have is a certificate of live birth. So that'll be the first things first to get back from the government. You got to get it. If you don't have it, you haven't got it yet. So that is important for you to have that so it can prove that you have a live birth, that you're living. And once we get this for ourselves, we're going to have to go an extra mile or even a few more miles and get it for all the children or the beneficiaries. We don't call them children because children is created by the state. So the state owns children. You own beneficiaries, or the trust owns, per se, or the trust manages beneficiaries. So you got to get out of these words too that's being used for you. Children, parent, adult, right? Your goal is to convert from these things because eventually they will quiz you and ask you certain questions. So I do my best by showing you all screens and diagrams that can quickly teach us this, and so that you don't have to go and overstudy this and memorize a whole bunch of data. Because that's how they try to teach me a lot of stuff. Like, hey, go and read this book, go and read these laws and all. I don't like that. I want to get to the main point. I want to see how it looks. I don't want you to tell me or give me a book or a paper or a document. I want to see the document visually working. So that's where I'm at, and that's what I'm attempting to show when I show these screens. I want to give you all results of what is working and what has worked. Not saying what I'm working on, and I want to see if it's going to go through it. That'd be a horrible situation if you don't know for sure if something's going to go through. So I can pivot over to this list. I won't be able to show the list because there's no screen for the list. I wrote it down on a piece of paper. But sometimes you all may need to use a paper, a pen, and a pencil. Don't get used to typing everything up all the time. So this is specifically going to be notes that I have that I wrote that I'm giving you all a list of, but I'm making sure a screen of what a certificate of live birth. That's what I'll do. I'll show you all what it looks like. So certificate of live birth is the first document you need to get. You need to take it back from the state. And what I mean by that, it sounds like you're mean or you're doing something wrong, but guess what? They will give it to you. You get it back from them, you take it. Take your certificate of live birth from the Department of Vital Statistics, wherever it's at. And like I said, we got people that had to do it in Florida. We know there's this location that you have to make sure that you get it from. And that is going to be in certain locations. I think in Jacksonville, where we are in Florida. So for those that gave y'all an answer, if you're in Florida, kind of gave y'all an answer, don't go to Vital Check. For those who may go to Vital Check anyway, We didn't say go to Vital Check, because if you go to Vital Check, they may not give you the certificate of live birth. Let me show you let me show you what I'm saying that you don't do. Sometimes I may have to show you what not to do as well. So don't say, hey, Brother Wallace said go to vitalcheck.com and they was gonna give me my certificate of live birth. Now, Vital Check may not give it to you. They may just give you the birth certificate, which is the regular one. We're saying to get the certificate of live birth. That's the one that shows the birth was live at the hospital. So you got to be very specific when you get things from these entities or these governments. And they know exactly what you're talking about. All right. They don't even advertise it. So don't say, hey, I went on the website. Hey, I called them. They said they don't got it. Or they said I can't get it. We're not using those type of people who think like this. You're never gonna get anything. So like I say, this is taking. You got to take it back from these people. So that's first step. Anybody got questions on this? Maybe your state has a different entrance of getting this, but we want to go through the hard answers now before I go down this list. So anyone else have any thoughts or questions on what I'm saying that you must get?
Yeah, Wallace, Wallace, I tried this before a while back when I'm trying to line up everything, and I messed around and did this, and it's exactly what you said. They wouldn't give me my certificate of live birth. They kept swearing me up and down that this is all I needed and all I needed. I was like, nah, this ain't it. So we back here. So now I'm finna pay attention this time.
Absolutely. Thank you for using that as a testimonial to show that you have attempted this and, you know, things didn't go as much as you know. So right here, we actually have a documentation of this actually um, true. So look at Florida. They actually have them. Glad they show some of them. Thank whoever this person is using themselves. So yeah, you'll get something called an apostille when you're dealing with foreign government. Let's say we go out of the country, which I'll start showing you all how we are going to connect our trust to be international. Once you go through these steps, this will make you international. So this part right here is what it looks like in Florida. If you all want to see an example, thankful the internet gave us an example. This is not my information. This is on a web page. So if YouTube tries to block it, it's not my information. This is coming straight off of a website, Foreign Documents Express. So yeah, this is how it look in Florida. It'll actually say the word certificate of live birth. You have to have the words say that on there. It'll have live signatures by the doctors, by the people that was there when you were birthed. Any questions or thoughts to this? We're going to move to the next document. Yeah, go ahead. Anyone to make sure anyone that's here.
What was the name of that place again? I'm trying to write it down.
Yeah, I'm not advertising for them either. I'm just explaining, giving y'all, I saw an example of what it shows like.
Oh, okay.
You feel what I'm saying? So you need to get it from the location I gave you as a clue. It's in Jacksonville. So this it's a location where you get it from in Jacksonville, whatever office that is. All right. So we got some people saying in the chat, just going back, that your name isn't showing. Yes, we need your name to be showing in Bizopedia. So your name has to be in the system showing you are in business. We got to make sure our names are showing in the system we are in business. So next one on the list is the birth affidavit. This is the next one on the list is birth affidavit. You're going to create this. This isn't something that you can get. All right, so you will create this. You can do this in real time today if you wanted to do this. That's why I say this is only for the few. Some people may not even understand this or they don't even know what you're talking about. So this avoids all that extra flim-flam stuff y'all be rolling with when you're dealing with the DCF people and talking about I'm having a home birth and my child ain't gonna have no birth certificate and all this extra stuff. So what you do is you need to have something called a birth affidavit before the child is born at the hospital. Period. You got to do it at the time that everything's happening before they do it. So this means you need to go ahead and retroactively create your birth affidavit at the time it was supposed to be created for you at your birth. And it must be notarized. So I gave y'all the answer, what it is. You have to do that part to get out of the birth certificate. Because that's going to be the next thing you're going to have to take back from them too. So most of us may already have that one, but some of us don't even have the birth certificate. So I went over two of them. The birth affidavit, you'll be able to create this. And then you also must get and take from the state the birth certificate. You got to take it back from them. And you got to hold it too. Any questions or thoughts on the birth affidavit? I think I went over this in the past, but you may need a recap on it. I may show you an example real quick, but I know we don't have too much time to get down this list because we got at least about 8 or 9 more things to do.
Yeah, Wallace, I need an example of that. And would the information on the certificate of live birth be equivalent to whatever a birth affidavit consists of?
Correct. Exactly. So that'll be what you're mainly focusing on, is making sure it's consistent to the information that's showing that they would have put on, they call it the birth certificate or the certificates of live birth. So I want to prove this, that this is a real thing that y'all can do. And you can even place the same thing that we'll get into even more. It's called a birth affidavit. Let's type that in. Or affidavit of birth. This is your examples. That's why I say you have to create this. You have to create it. They got some with y'all rocket lawyer people. They got some easier ones and other ways. But yeah, this is a good one. I like rocket lawyers format just to kind of scroll in what y'all looking at. What it says right here. You know. And then down here you get the notary. So do first things first. That way you have more things in order of what you understand and that you know. You also can do the Department of State ones, but I don't recommend you all use the Department of State one first. But look, they even show you that the passport people say you can even use the birth affidavit. It's right here. So this is real. Government is saying you can do this. All right, moving on. The next one is going to be your birth certificate. Let's go to that one. Birth certificate. That's the one that's regular. We all know the birth certificate. It usually just says certification of birth. So you need that. You got to take that back from the state. It is going to have the all capital letters name on there. So you will be able to see all this information is redacted. So that's good. They redacted it. But the mother's information and the father's information will show on there if it's the father has been there. And then you'll also have the child. Like I say, you gotta get out of being this child that they want you to be. I don't care how old you think you is. You better make sure they don't got you in the system as a child. Anyway, I'm just saying that's a whole nother point, but I'm just breaking down, like I'm not making these words up. This is what it says on the documents. So certification of birth is your next doc. After this doc right here, let's go to the next one. It's going to be the living revocable trust. We'll be out of here in about the next 5 to about 10 minutes or so. Less than 10 minutes. So the living revocable trust. That's your next doc. So you got to have the living revocable trust. As you know, you go through university technicians, we have a trust service, a trust plan that can help you walk through these things and support. But yes, this will be what you need, and you have to create this. So this is another document you will create. No, they don't give it to you. No, they don't help you do it. No, it's not free. You must create it. So you got to put in your time, your energy, your attitude, and even your money to do the living revocable trust. So that is one of those things that is interesting. It does overcome a lot of things that you may have to plan for. It is more powerful because some people ask these questions a lot, like, do I need to do this and do that? So read through Investopedia and different things like this. They will give you more details of what a revocable trust is than what we just give you the main straightforward documentation because we want you to jump right into the doc. But yes, it is more powerful. Just for those to see this, it is more powerful than the traditional will that we hear about. So when we hear people say, "I have a will in place," or "I have a will," we see the will being tore up because the revocable trust is higher than the will. And it tells you a trust whose provisions can be altered or canceled by the grantor. See, wills can be like, hey, I'm going to make this will to give you this car. And then maybe later on in life, you're like, I forgot I wrote that note to say that I'm going to give this car to this person. Right? That's the point. So you don't, wills may not always be the will that you want to stay with. So that's why we don't get in. I'm not giving y'all legal advice. I'm not saying that I understand all that, but this is what you all need to research. That's why we get into revocable trust because the provisions can be canceled or changed at any time by the grantor. So thank you, Investopedia, for giving us more knowledge on that, and people can look into that, understand more answers of what this trust is and how to use it and things like that. So we're not trying to make or reinvent the will. We're just trying to guide you all down the path that's going to be effective and put you in place that you're going to be able to have more power, we'll say, and access points. So yes, encourage all those around you. Don't force them. Just encourage them. Encourage everyone around you to always put their revocable trust first. Because if you have a revocable trust, this is a lot easier for you to do business with people, deal with family members, deal with friends, deal with everybody, even the bank, right? I like this diagram. It has a person holding in their hand their living trust. This is great. I love this diagram because people get caught up in all these other ways. And even the law firms are starting to jump into this like, man, this is interesting. I had a lawyer call one time back in the day. They called asking questions about trust. I'm like, man, they don't even teach the lawyers about trust, y'all. Yes, it's that deep. Like a lot of lawyers don't even, there's like a specific specialty when you start getting into living trust or revocable trust. So you look at this, it tells you all the things that the living trust that I've been telling y'all for years. Don't think that is my knowledge or Wallace's knowledge. So you're just not doing it because you think it's me. Well, look, these people been doing it and they gonna still do it even if you don't do it. And they say they got their living trust in place and they're gonna be managing their home, they're gonna be managing their vehicle, their mutual funds, their personal property, all that stuff that's in their name, their clothes, their shoes, their chairs, their furniture, all that stuff. Their retirement account that they got, their IRA account at the job. I'm still working. I got my IRA account. That living trust is managing that. The life insurance, that goes back to that whole life insurance people saying. They advertising to y'all to go borrow from your life insurance, all that stuff. Like I said, I'm not giving you legal advice or financial advice because I can't, but I'm showing you this is the best way to do it for yourself. Business interests, stocks, all this stuff. Look, that's a great picture right there. This guy's going to get a lot of business because he's a lawyer and he's getting straight to the point. But these are the things that you all will be searching out as you get into this. This is one of your next docs that you create. And there are things that tell you about this. Like I always use this famous document right here, revocable versus irrevocable. So no, we're not talking about irrevocable trust. So if those get into that anyway, we're like here to tell you that I don't understand it that much and I can't advise you into irrevocable or give you hints, but I can help you with revocable because I understand it, I'm using it, but I'll only be able to show you how to do it for yourself. So I can't do it for you. But yeah, the revocable is more easier, more important, and flexible. And yeah, you can do it. So that's it for the next one on the list. We got a living revocable trust. Let's go on the next thing that you must. So like I said, you're going to be creating that. So you got to create this. If you don't understand how to create that, just pay for one of our courses. We'll get you streamlined. It'll be ready for you within less than a week. Depends on your schedule. Some people I've seen do it within 24 or 48 hours. So yes, that living revocable trust is important. If you need to update your revocable trust, do those things as well. You must create those updates. Next is the social security card. And I think I'm gonna close out on our next two, because I think it's about 8 o'clock now. So we'll be closing out in just a few. So your next is gonna be your social security card. I know this sounds redundant, but this is something that you have to get. You got to get this. So if you don't have this card around you in a way that you have in storage or accessibility, I always recommend keep it like this guy right here. This is the best thing to keep right here. Keep it with the address on there, all that stuff. I don't know why she put her stuff out there, but hey, whatever. But this is what you want to do. You want to have um, the card. Remember we was talking about that earlier. So you're taking it back. You take the card. Don't get all caught up in that. You're giving it back to the government. Revoking my citizenship. All this extra stuff they got y'all thinking out here on the internet. 5081-CA. They're using all these techniques to kind of get you guys out of using your social card. But you got to take it. You're not just using it this time. You're taking it. I'm using specific words this time because you have to get it, you take it, and you're going to be thinking about this a totally different way now because it's a business. And this is the blank card. It has you in there. As you can see, you're overtaking that card right here. Like I said, you got the card. What do we talk about? You can take over the card, you take over the name, the social security name, and you take over the SS number. So there's two things, the name and the number. Any questions on this? Do the same for the youth. If you're the father and you're the mother, you have to do it for the youth. Both parents. We're not going to say you're a parent now. You're the mother and you're the father. So don't call yourself a parent for those who know. Any questions on this? Let me know because this can get a little tricky once you start getting into the social card. You know?
What you said and what I heard, Wallace, is reference to the wordplay, how they label us as certain entities within the system as a child, and then you saying don't be a parent, be a father. It's just wordplay for sure. That's
That's
what I'm
right.
hearing.
That's right. You got to make sure. Or will they ask you all those questions on that form? What they asking right here? The parent slash. Look at this. I ain't making this stuff up. That's how they get y'all. Y'all think it's all there for entertainment purposes. These people over here, they're not playing with you. They over here showing you, hey, I showed you on your application. So yeah, the mother and the father. If the father isn't known and he didn't do it, then he ain't gonna have his social though. We're gonna put unknown for the father. The mother, we know the mother had the child, but sometimes the mother is unknown too because we don't know the child's mother or whatever. Something happens at times too. But no, I think that it's impossible. The hospitals, they make sure, unless the child is born out of the hospital and the mother dropped the child off, then they will put unknown. But guess what? They're gonna not have the name of a child. They're gonna just put the name there. That's why I went over this earlier to show y'all that you're taking over the name. The name. It ain't say child. It doesn't say citizen, doesn't say person. Notice it says name. To be shown on card. So sometimes I gotta go detail for some of y'all. I'm not trying to make it so deep, but yeah, you gotta make sure you understand this. But that's it. And then you sign the name down here, signature. So if you don't understand how to write in the signature, see, they got us now. They got the youth don't even know how to write and sign their name now. They're doing this on purpose. They're making sure that you just try to type your name. You can't type the name. You got to sign the autograph of your name right here. So you can prove you're a living man, living woman. It's very interesting, y'all. So yeah, this is the SS5 form that you get into where you get the social card. And yes, you'll be overtaking that name from the government. Next is on the list is the revocable trust EIN, which we like to say you're famous. And I'll close out with this one for this week. And I'll get into next week. We'll continue on with the DBA and collecting currency, creating, the bank partners. And I think I went over the publication and we got some other things we'll talk about with the banks. But today I didn't go into the bank at all. So if you're here and you're still trying to go back into the bank, my goal is to keep you out of the bank as much as possible, right? You use it when you have to. You don't use it because, you just think it's convenient just to use the bank. And we all got to learn. So my last one I have on the list is going to be revocable EIN. Bear with me just one moment. Okay, apologies for that. Said bear with me just a moment. So what it is your last thing that we'll talk on today, because I know we ran out of time, is going to be the revocable trust name EIN. Now it's very important that we break it down that way because at this point, this is where it gets a little difficult for some of us, is that when you get the EIN for the revocable, you're actually creating an employer. So that revocable EIN is actually an employer identification number. So you have to begin to work for that trust, what they call the revocable trust, which you already do. So that is what you're going to get. So you got to get that. You have to take it. So you have to take it from the government. So the government has your revocable trust as well that you must take. And that revocable trust is under the social name as well as the social number. So that is the revocable trust. That's the first one you're taking, the social one. The second one you're taking is the EIN. That, like I said, you're going to take that from the government because that's the IRS is going to issue that EIN document that's separate from your social. So there's two things going on. The Social Security card is going to be converted, and your revocable trust EIN is going to also hold the funding that the social is also going to manage. But that's what I'll close out with this week, and we'll pick back up next week with more of the list. But today we did not get into the bank, just to make sure we went into that understanding that today we did not go into the bank. Your goal is to stay out of the fiat currency as much as possible. Use the methods that we mentioned today, the barter and exchange, that possibly getting into the crypto. If you understand that, the digital currency is what the IRS calls it. They don't call it crypto in the IRS system. You have the money orders, the post office money orders, and we also have silver coins, silver and gold. So other than that, if anyone have any last questions or thoughts, we have a few minutes for our comments, questions, and shares. We always leave in our last parts for the meeting, and I may be able to read some of our questions that we have or comments on the YouTube. With that, I take a time and a rest from that.
You know I gotta give you them flowers, but Wallace, you the man, you the man. I'm thankful for you being consistent, transparent, and practical with the information as you continue to show up as we do. Um, Grateful, thank you. And shout out to all y'all and the students of the game that's showing up as well. Jermaine, the active students, stepping up, just taking initiative to ask different questions, and we just living and learning, man. I share this and be done. I heard a statement that was profound for me in reference to this information, and it goes, free your mind and the rest will follow. Shout out to Wallace, man. Peace, love, and blessings.
Hey, I can't follow that up. That was awesome. Awesome class. I'm learning so much. I'm ready to move forward on a lot of things. Well, I already had it already. My word, the word map that you showed us with the brother on the table with everything laid out. I got everything laid out on my dining room table like that. And now I'm ready to put everything into motion. After tonight's class, I'm ready to start doing the stuff. So yeah, great class, Wallace. Excellent job.
All right, thank you. Any questions on any of the material, especially with the banking system, because we're trying to get everyone to fully know that you don't need the bank to do all this stuff first. I get people that are just trying to get the bank account open so fast. And I know that they talk about getting the trust account open. Um, that's a whole different topic and conversation. What we're talking about now is the bank. So if you got personal accounts or you're dealing with cash out, we heard some remedies today that the brother spoke. He said a lot. He talked about the cash out remedy. He talked about all these things. We're talking like this is how it looks in real time in reality. So get used to doing that. It may seem like it's a little bit more effort and it's like you're possibly losing money or time, but I guarantee you it'll pay out in the end. It'll pay out over time. So with all those final words, I think that's great for us to close out with. And we'll continue on and connect into our next week. Thank you all.